Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way here on YouTube. Yesterday, we met Megan Murphy and learned about her path to creating the Aunt Nae Nae Show. Today, we're exploring how she transformed her mental health struggles into a mission to inspire children. If you missed part one, though, there's a link in the description. I'm Andrew White, and this is part two of our conversation with the remarkable Megan Murphy.
It was mostly inspired by my nephew. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have had the idea for the show. But yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years and like 2 months, 2 years, about 2 years.
Yeah. And does your nephew tune into it still?
He used to in the beginning, but now, one
He's a bit
time
older.
he said, "Aunt Nae Nae, you need to make some stuff for older kids. This is baby stuff." And I'm like,
Maybe you should have a section for teenagers,
So,
or the
maybe.
part before teenagers. Then there's your
So,
future progression.
so I told him that he could help give me ideas for things I should do on the show. And he was like, okay. Made him feel like,
I love
give him
that.
something important to do.
What a great inspiration to start the show, and it's it's been your purpose clearly for the last 2 years, and a lot of people give up on these type of things after a few months, don't they? When they maybe they don't realize it doesn't go as well as quick as well successful in their mind. But you're keeping it going. You, like with me with the podcast, right? I've been doing this for just over a year, and I'm still going. And most shows, most podcasts as well, die, I think, after something, like a quarter of a year, a few months, because burnout hits people and they realize it's too hard. But you've kept going. What drives you to keep going with the Aunt Nae Nae Show?
Just remembering why I started doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
Which was to help the kids and to do something for the kids to educate them, to inspire them, and it sounds cliche, but really to make kids happy, hopefully, in the process, to bring kids joy, let's say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And where does that want to inspire children and educate them, where does that passion come from then, deep within you?
I don't know. I've just always loved kids, and I've always connected with kids. Not in a creepy way, but like,
no, of course. Of course, yeah.
And then all of my cousins, my younger cousins that I took care of when they were babies.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed babysitting them. And I don't know, a child is like pure innocence. It's like a pure, precious thing. And, I think childhood in general is a very fleeting time in someone's life. And so if I can provide a little bit of joy or help or inspiration to children while they're young, while they're still ready to receive it in the way that I'm delivering it, then, like, even if I change the life of, or not change the life, but even if I inspire one child, then I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
I do. I say the exact same thing about the podcast. If I just help one person per episode, I'm actually totally fine with that. And if it doesn't, which I would never know anyway, but if it doesn't, I'm able to take pieces away from each of my guests. And at the side of that, I have just wonderful conversations with all my guests. So I totally resonate with what you've just said. Absolutely. So, on touching on the childhood there, then you want to do this for children. Did you have that same childhood experience? Did you grow up in a magical place maybe that's where it comes from, maybe with the way you were brought up. Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Well, yeah. I was very fortunate that I had a very good childhood.
Nice.
Honestly, it was like a magical fairy tale childhood. I spent hours every day playing with my friends, riding our bikes around the neighborhood and playing in the woods behind my house. And I was lucky that my parents were able to provide me and my brother with pretty much all that we needed and most of what we wanted. We were never lacking in that respect. I won't go into the negative parts of my childhood because honestly, overall, the good outweighs the bad, and the bad wasn't really that bad looking back on it, even though I thought it was at the time.
For sure, yeah. In a little child's mind, it can be, built up, can't it? For sure, yeah.
But honestly, it was pretty freaking great childhood.
Yeah, great.
We got to go on lots of family vacations. We went to the beach. We went to the lake. We went to see. I loved it every summer when my cousins from Tennessee would come down to visit for a few weeks. We just had a lot of great times in my childhood.
Amazing. And school for you, I remember you saying when we met in February for the pre-chat, I remember you saying that you used to love to read and you were part of, you got into your acting quite young, into theatre quite young as well. Is that right?
Well, let me think. I was a pretty good student. I was a really good student, usually straight A, sometimes a B or two here or there. But I was a really good student. I loved to read. I remember I was in the most advanced. We had like groups of reading levels in our class in the first grade. Yeah. And I remember I was like the most advanced reading group. I was reading chapter books by the end of the first grade, pretty much.
Wow. Amazing.
But then in the fourth grade, the high school theater group came to our elementary school and performed a scene from the play that they were doing that year, which was a musical called Guys and Dolls. And they performed a couple of songs from that in front of all the elementary school students. And that's when it hit me. That's when I knew. Like, after school that day, I went home and I said, Mama, I'm gonna be in the Guys and Dolls one day. I thought that the group of people was called the Guys and Dolls. I didn't understand that the name of the play was called Guys and Dolls.
Oh, right.
So I was like, I'm gonna be in the Guys and Dolls one day. But I meant the high school theater group one day.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then I couldn't wait until I got to high school, and in the 9th grade, I tried out for the high school play, and guess what? I didn't make it. I didn't get a part at all.
Oh, I thought you said you were gonna.
So,
oh my God.
I wasn't gonna give up. So in the 10th grade, I tried again, and I got a part in the chorus, which is the ensemble, in Hello Dolly. And then I was in the ensemble of Crazy for You in the 11th grade. We only did one play a year in high school when I was in it. And then in the 12th grade, I finally got my first main role as Aunt Sue in No No Nanette. I always seem to play an aunt.
Perfect.
Anyway, then I went to college for theater for acting. I got my bachelor's degree in theater, and then a couple years after that, I moved to New York City. I moved to New York City in 2012 because I had dreams of being on Broadway. Like, I had pretty high hopes. I was like, I'm gonna be on Broadway within a year. But then, of course, that didn't happen. But, I lived there for 6 years, and in the time I was there, I came a lot further in the end than where I started from. Like, I became a member of both actors' unions, SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity Association, which is the theater actors union. And I had the opportunity to audition for a lot of Broadway productions. I was in some off Broadway children's theater in New York. I did Cinderella, The Wizard of Oz, and then another version of Cinderella with a different theater.
I can see you in those shows, by the way. I can totally see you in those shows.
Let's see. I worked as a background extra on lots of television shows and movies that film in New York City.
Oh, nice. I was an extra last week in a movie, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just for a friend. I was dancing in a club and there was no music being played. I was like this.
I know. And usually they have you like pretend like you're saying something, but it's really nothing's coming out of your mouth.
It was so weird. I had to look up at the stage at the guy singing. He was just stood there going like this because the camera wasn't on him. So he only stood there for us. And we're idolizing him. So I'm looking up going... And it was just so weird. It was so weird. But I went for it. I just thought, screw it. I'm going for it. And I went for it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
I got
it was
excited.
a lot of fun working as a background actor. And then in 2018, I made the decision to move back home to Alabama. Mostly because things in my acting career just weren't going well, and I wasn't getting a lot of other work to pay the bills either, which was the extra work on as a background actor. I wasn't getting a lot of background gigs either, and I was also just starting to feel burnout with everything. I had gotten tired of going to audition after audition and applying for role after role and not getting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through a period of a little bit of depression somewhere along in there.
Yeah.
And
is that when you were in New York or when you were back home in Alabama?
It started when I was in New York, but that's part of the reason that I decided to move back home to Alabama. Was to take care of myself and just take a break from everything for a while and take care of my mental health. And so I moved back home to Alabama in August of 2018. And then I didn't do anything for a couple of years. I did seek out some professionals to help me with my mental health. I started going to therapy, and now I'm taking some medicine that's really helping and I feel much better now. I want everybody to know that I'm doing much better now. It's like night and day from then and now.
Yeah.
It's so much better now.
Let's talk about that area then, because I think that's important, isn't it? Because they've seen, the guests have seen how positive you are. Sorry, the viewers have seen how positive you are and what you're doing and how you're leading your own way. They've heard magical things about your childhood and part of your purpose with your acting career and your travel and moving away, because you've been to a few different places, you worked away. But burnout is real, right? Burnout is real, and a lot of people are experiencing that now, and I feel like it's getting worse from my observations anyway, and the people that I talk to. You know, I have a luxury of talking to many incredible people like yourself on this podcast, and that word comes up quite a lot in a lot of episodes. So I'm guessing if it's amongst my guests, it's amongst the rest of the population too. So talk about your burnout, and where really, like with your depression, where did you go with your depression? How dark and deep did it go for you? Were you not working? Were you at home quite a lot? How did you struggle with that? Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.